Well, good morning. Doug here. I woke up this morning thinking about marbles. Yeah, marbles. Uh, when I was a boy, we shot marbles. We didn't call them marbles, we called them hoodles. And little boys played boxies, where they drew a little box on the ground and put some marbles. Each one put a couple marbles in there. And you shot at them, had them knock them out of the box. And if your marble stayed in the box, you could shoot another one. And sometimes you could run the box. Well, when you got a little older, you started playing circlesies. And in circlesies, you drew a big circle about 5 feet in diameter. And everybody put in 3 or 4 marbles. And then you shot from the outer rim of the circle at the marbles in the center. We called that the pot. Sometimes you could run the pot. If you could, you had to be pretty good. But the other thing you had to have was a shooter. And sometimes you spent a long time, maybe a year or two, finding exactly the right shooter. It had to be just the right weight so that when it hit another marble, it would sit and spin while the other marble went flying out of the circle. If it was too heavy, it would follow the other marble out, and it wasn't any good as a shooter. If it was too light, it wouldn't knock that marble out. Back in them days, we wore knickers, and all mine had patches on the knees, leather patches. My mother sewed leather patches on them because I just plain wore them out. We had high knee socks, which I always pushed down around my ankles and pull the knickers down on my calf. And that was kind of a protest look, I guess, in those days. I hated the green socks. They were black and green, and your legs turned green if you wore them all day, especially in warm weather if you sweated a little bit. The colors weren't very fast. Anyway, we played marbles, not up next to the school ground. We played marbles down near the railroad tracks, just off the edge of the school grounds. We went to school at 7 o'clock in the morning, got there, and played marbles for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and school started at 9. I had my bedroom full of buckets of marbles. I was really good at it. One of the things I did was I'd sit in class all day long with my right hand down underneath the desk and practice shooting marbles. I'd go. And that built a strong thumb. I could crack the pot, as we called it, and knock 2, 3, 4 marbles out of the pot on the first shot, which put me way ahead. And I shot marbles up until junior high school, when girls took over my interest. But even in the 6th grade, there was some interest in girls, because we started knocking off a little bit early from the marble shooters to go watch the girls practice tennis. Now, boys didn't play any tennis. That was a sissy game. You wouldn't dare be seen on a tennis court. You'd be railroaded out of town. But we liked to watch the girls play tennis. We didn't care about the score. We were looking at the girls, and the girls knew we were looking at them. And of course, they had on them tiny, tiny little shorts, smaller than anything we ever got a chance to look at any other time, with a pleated skirt over it. Well, and running and hitting the ball and all of that. Them little short pleated skirts would fly up, and you could see their underwear. We thought that was cool. We liked that. And boys that played sports, far as I was concerned, was wasting their damn time. I had better things to do. I was interested in the girls. I rebuilt myself a bicycle out of an old pile of junk frame and some wheels and fenders and whatever I could find. Painted it all up, put it together. Mostly so I could spread out the area a little bit where I could go visit the girls in the evenings after school. A little bit later on, getting a part-time job kind of poured a little cold water on that. But I needed money because I had things I wanted to do, and I needed money to buy stuff for my canoe, and I needed money. I needed money to be able to afford to go into Baudy Town. Now that's where we boys specialized. We'd play hooky, hop the old number 26 Red Rocket streetcar, and ride it into town, swaying back and forth on the rails, and stop and come screeching to a stop, and people getting on and off, and it was a circus. It really was. But we went into Baudy Town, and there was striptease houses there, and whorehouses up on the second, third floors of the strip burlesque shows. And if you was too young to get in, you stood on your tiptoes at the ticket window, and when the lady asked you, "How old are you?" you'd say 21. And they'd say, "Okay," and they'd let you in. Well, the place was pretty neat. It was pretty neat. The floors were concrete, no carpet. And the chairs were all metal chairs because everybody smoked in there. And if they had all upholstery and all tapestry and all that, there was a danger of fire. And so to get the fire department to go along with it, them letting people smoke in there, they had metal chairs and concrete floors. Well, there's nothing in the world better than watching a strip show through the haze of smoke. And that's what we did. But there was more to it than just a striptease show. There was a good body show, vaudeville style body show. And they always had a couple really good comedians, a few singers. They told a lot of jokes, and they put on skits. And they have two guys walk out maybe. One of them, an old man, and one a young man. And the old man would say, "Look at there, what I got." And he had a peanut on a string. And he'd tell the other guy, the other guy would say, "What is that?" And he said, "Well, this is a tweeter. You swing this peanut back and forth." He didn't call it a peanut. He said, "You swing this back and forth in front of a lady's face, and she'll fall in love with you." Oh, the other guy said, "Ha ha ha ha! Come on, man, you're pulling my leg." No, he said, "I'm not. This is true. This is a true thing." Well, the other guy didn't believe it. So here it come out, traipsing across the stage, prancing like circuit horses, three girls, almost naked. And the old man said, "Now watch this." And he'd take his tweeter and he'd swing that peanut back and forth across the girl's face. And she would throw her arms around him and kiss him, almost throw him to the floor. And then he did it to the next one, and the next one. And the other guy was amazed, the young fella. He said, "Well, that is really something." He said, "I never seen nothing like that." And the guy said, "Yeah," he said, "I've made a believer out of you, haven't I?" And the guy said, "Yeah." He said, "I believe you." He said, "Well, I'll sell you one of these." He says, "I've got them for sale." He said, "I'll sell you one of them." He said, "How much you want for it?" He said, "Well," he said, "I'll take $10 for one." And the guy said, "Oh, no." He said, he said, "Well, I got a special offer I'll make you. I'll sell you one of these for $8, and that's the cheapest I can go, because these things have to come a long way. You know what they are, don't you? I said, no. He said, they're King Tut's nut. I said, wow, that's something. And yeah, they got to come all the way from Egypt. So there's a lot of freight on them. So the guy says, all right, I'll give you $8 for it. So he pulled out $8 and handed it to the guy, and the guy reached in his pocket and pulled out a tweeter and give it to him. The guy went off stage. Then the guy up there started selling tweeters to the audience. He said, now I got, for the audience, he said, I have a special price. I'll sell you a tweeter for 50 cents. 50 cents a piece. Well, everybody bought a tweeter. The whole dag, everybody in the place bought at least one tweeter, and some more. And of course, we tried them all the girls in school. And of course, they didn't know what the heck it was all about. You could walk up to a girl, swing a peanut on a string in front of her face. They thought we was crazy. And nobody told. The amazing thing is, there was about 6 of us boys up there that day, had gone to the Baudy Show. And nobody told. The girls never knew what that was all about. And it just got so that after a while, you didn't have to have a peanut on a string. You could just kind of wave your hand back and forth in front of a girl. And they didn't know what the heck that was all about. But anyway, we had a lot of fun. And I want to tell you something. Whores have a bad name. Well, I'm going to tell you, there's no sweeter people on earth. Them women, they loved us boys. After we all had jobs, we had a little money, and you could go upstairs over top the burlesque show and go to the whorehouse. And you could buy usually an older woman, not a prime young 22-year-old, but you could get a little bit older woman for $5. Yeah, them girls put on a show for you. They loved the young boys, and they thought it was so much fun to break them in and teach them the ropes. And of course, we loved it. You know, boys are boys, and we loved it. And but do you know what? It took a little pressure off the girls, I think, because boys go about half nuts when they're young teenagers over sex. And but anyway, that's my story, and it's true. It's all true. Except that I forgot to tell everybody that the Baudy houses was there because of the sailing ships that came into Baltimore all during the 20s and 30s and so on. And after World War II, there weren't any more sailing ships coming in there. There were ships, but they only had usually 2 or 3 people on them. And there wasn't enough business for the Baudy houses. So as a result, we kids profited from it. We were the new sailors in town, and which was not a bad place to be when you're 15 years old. Okay, that's enough of this. Thank you much. Bye-bye.